Hey everybody, welcome to part 4 in this Jura Impressa restoration repair project. If you're first joining us, you could click on this link in the top right corner. We'll take you to a listing of all the videos. You could click on the link to the first video or whatever video you left off from and continue from there. In the last video, the grinder was completely disassembled. It was probably the nastiest component of the entire coffee machine. Completely impacted, it was cleaned out, and then it was reassembled, bringing it to a like-new condition. Everything was put back, keeping in mind where the calibration marks were, so that everything would work as before. At that point, the inside of the machine was vacuumed out and then completely cleaned, every single area, to remove all dirt for a like-new appearance on the inside. This allowed then for the reinstallation of the brew group back into the unit, securing it with the 3 screws and finishing that portion of the project. In this video, we're going to dive right into the disassembly, cleaning, and reassembly of the front panel, testing and reassembling of the unit. So let's get started. We see that I lowered the front panel to expose these 2 notches right here that have these tabs. I'll tell you, I really haven't found a purpose for these tabs as far as securing the panel, as you'll see when I remove it, because as we can see here, these are the only areas that are exposed. We'll move to this position. I could just slide this right up and out of the way. This lower slide right here is really grungy. The upper slide is not perfect, but not as bad. Inside of the spout, absolutely nasty. Gonna pull the pins on each rod as shown. There's a strong magnet nearby. If it falls, it'll get caught on it. Then slide the rods up and out of the unit, twisting through the bottom grunge. I secure the clips to the rod so I don't lose them. This tab will be lifted on the connector so I can pull the connector off the back of the spout. It is a 2-hose connector. The spout could then be lifted right off the tracks. We just heard the magnets fall out and get stuck onto a component. We'll do some front of the unit cleaning now. And we'll take off this piece. I'm not removing this top sliding piece. It would be a significant amount of work and not necessary. It could be cleaned around. Attention is paid to the mechanical components of that piece as well as the underside where the spout is. I did put a little bit of the grease that I had on the bottom of these rails right here after I had cleaned them up. Move this up and down a couple of times to distribute that. Set up a bowl now with cleaner. We're going to drop our parts in, let them pre-soak. This cleaned and rinsed first, put off to dry. This piece lifts up and separates from this unit. It is nasty. I'm going to clean it with a brush. I'm going to go through it under pressure with water after I clean it with the brush to ensure that everything is clean on here inside and out. This piece took more effort. I had to bend the brush and contort it to be able to get through to everything. It required multiple soakings as well. For the rods, I used my metal polish. Which brought them to a shiny new appearance. This piece is lowered back into position. That pipe goes through that chrome guard right there. You can see I did not realize at the time that the magnets were stuck to the piece. Those black cylinders are the magnets. It'll come out later and I'll fix that. It's pushed down just like that. Bringing it back to the track, the rods are slid in one at a time. It should also be held by the magnets at this point as the rods slide in. But you can see at this point I still forgot the magnets, so it's just the rods holding it in. The clips then go back in to secure the rods. This piece is reattached. It's rubber, so it just seats right back in position. In testing, the problem became apparent. I saw the magnets were out of place. This would need to be fixed. We see the magnets are stuck to the side there by the spout. I've removed the whole unit. We can see both of them in my hands now. They go in these 2 little holes. So I've placed them back in and reinstalled the spout correctly. Put a small amount of the lubricant on these O-rings right here. They're not leaking, so I'm not replacing them just yet. We're going to see what happens. Supporting the front, snap this connector back in. I've cleaned this piece. The jury's out on its functionality. We're going to let it go for now for testing. This plastic tab is broken. I haven't figured out its practicality, but I'm going to fix it anyway. Taking off the finish and roughing up this piece with some 80 grit sandpaper on all the areas could be affected for gluing. Same thing's going to happen on the part that I'm going to glue it to. Trying to get as close as possible to this raised plastic ridge. We see right here, came out nice. Good surface adhesion. I'm going to clean everything with 99% pure alcohol now. The main piece as well as that small piece. Initially, I'm going to set it up with a small amount of super glue just to get it on there first. Let it adhere and set that angle because it is on an angle as we see. Then I'm going to over glue it so a small amount of glue, a pool forms in the corner. Then using some baking soda, I'm just going to tap some off the screwdriver so it falls into that corner. I'm going to set up the angle one last time as that's all going to immediately adhere and turn into like a cement. Put a little more on. Spread it out a bit. And I'm just going to tap it around and knock the excess off. There we go. The other side, same process. Again and again as I build up layer upon layer. That'll make it a bit stronger. This now looks sufficient. We'll wash up the piece and have a look. Everything's built up real nice. Just a strong bond. This will be good. I get the height so the holes match those pieces and just slide it right down. And that's it. It's on. Give it a test. The magnets hold it securely. Slide up is smooth now. The action now is cleaned and down and up. Everything's working nice. We get the minimum assembly for test going as I dress this hose back through this hole here. Close the cover a bit. This hose from the brew group connecting back on top of the squeeze valve. Make sure it's securely fit. We'll take out part 16. We'll insert this clear hose back in, and using the clip, which was part 16, we'll insert that clip back through. Come up top and reconnect this hose at the T-fitting. This is the only time we're going to need a fitted flathead screwdriver, so we'll take one now. This screw at the bean sensor is a flathead. These other two arms press in to remove. This cover comes right out. We can see the interrupt beam on the sensor that's used to see if there's beans in the unit. We're just going to spray everything here and clean it off with the paper towel. Keep working at it till everything's clean. Then the cover will be snapped back in. This will be followed by that flathead screw. We just snug down. Completing the prep for the cover. Part 15 is the bracket for the decoder. Removing it from the tape, we place it back in a position over here on top of the unit, securing it to the decoder. The decoder counts the turns of the gear. We'll take a moment to clean out the reservoir, first removing the filter. This filter is not that old. I am going to reuse it. 2 iced tea jug supports the reservoir like bookends as I fill it with filtered water. I'll be decalking the inside with citric acid. A tablespoon is sufficient to do the job. I'm not trying to rush it. We'll be stirring it with a celebrity guest spatula. And then topping it off. The side cover will be placed back on, aligning these two tabs to the detents in the top. First on an angle, laying it down, then bringing the front forward so it can fall into place, pushing the bottom down, and it's seated. Make sure the decoder top is still in place. Here's number 14. It's the cable for the bean sensor. Remove the tape. I'm going to bring the cable through from the unit to the bean sensor. Easier to connect. The water reservoir now cleaned out and rinsed, free of calc, placed back onto the unit. The filter holder was decalced. It'll be placed back into these two holes. The top cover is now lowered down. Looking around at all of the areas, making sure that the plastic seams are aligned at all the top areas. Looking at this side, it's aligned. That side, it's aligned. Over here, sort of lift up on the front panel, make sure that everything's seated into place. I was really close on this. We could see it's off by 1 tooth to the right. So I ended up lifting up the back, turning this 1 notch and back down. This piece will need to be installed for the test as well, so I lowered it into place. I've given the tray a well-needed cleaning. Gone through it completely, as well as the water sensor. Also the grind tray, I went through that as well. Looks new. Drop that in position. This plate's a bit scratched, but it cleaned up. Good enough. We're prepared for water now. Opening this up. Opening up this flap right here. Reinstalling our filter. Now closing that flap. Again, I use filtered water with the filter and regularly clean the machine with the tablets, if that gives you any idea. The light distortion you see is an artifact of the camera. We'll be using our tablets in a minute. We'll do first just a standard rinse irrigation. Steffi's now going to set it up for standard machine cleaning. So we'll empty the tray. Put the empty tray back in, load everything back on, and continue. Add the tablet. Loading it into this section. Continue. We could see during the cleaning that the squeeze valve has no problem operating both fixtures independently. So the observation is there seems to be no failure or obstruction with the squeeze valve. This cleaning is important, removing a lot of extra grease from the rebuild, as well as the fact that I hadn't cleaned inside the hoses. I may elect to run this twice. And we could see, looking in this pot, what was collected just from the hoses and whatnot from the cleaning cycle. It's not bad. All the pieces have been removed from this machine that were temporarily installed that it could be properly reassembled. This includes the pieces up top, on the sides, the water, and the front. And we kick off the closing process with the back cover. And this lip goes under the top cover. And we have to get it around the switch and just push everything back into place. I bring the machine forward, tilt it forward, it's easier to do. And then everything seats in the right place, it snaps in. We move to screw 13. That uses the special tool. Same thing for screw number 12. I'm not going to use this tool anymore for the repair. I'm going to duct tape it to the back of the machine so it doesn't get lost. Screw 11 back to the T15 will be going under the handle on the right hand side. Screw 10 also under the handle on the right hand side. Screw 9 will fit in the back corner over here. 8 will fit immediately next to it. And 7 next to that. This grill will be placed back on the tabs in this fashion and laid down like that. 6 will go in the back corner. 5 will go up front. Screw 4 will go in the back far end. Screw 3 will go here up front. Screw 2 will go in the front lower right hand side of the machine. And finally, screw 1 will go in the front lower bottom of the right-hand side of the machine. Replace the tray, the hopper for the coffee grinds, the water tank, and finally the covers for the beans. And that's the reassembly using the tape method. Not a single part out of place, everything back together. Nothing broken except that little tab that was possibly already broken but repaired. Everything looking really nice, not like new, but good enough. The only thing left to do now is try out the machine. So we'll try regular coffee and a cappuccino. First we'll fill it up with beans and we'll get going. Notable difference is heard in the grinder. The mechanical workings also sound notably smoother. And this ends a 4-part series on the restoration and repair of this Jura S9 Impressa. I hope you found this video enjoyable, entertaining, and informative. Hit that like button down below. It helps me out a lot when you do. And hit that subscribe button for more videos like this when they come out. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?